Okay, this is a parallel recording. I don't know what happened to the other one. It really didn't record properly. I was sick for 2 weeks, so I was really off YouTube. I had an allergy, cold, asthma, and I got to go out a little bit yesterday to the Temple Sisterhood Luncheon and to a meeting Holocaust second generation group to see a speaker about a couple who rescued Jews during the Holocaust. And this is about being online and dealing with the anti-Semites, the anti-Israelites, and the self-hating Jews. And the self-hating Jews, that's probably the most difficult thing of all to do, to deal with, that they hate their own people, and some of them, their families survived the Holocaust like mine, and they still self-hate. But the most interesting argument or discussion I had was about Isaac and Ishmael. And the Bible that I read says that Hagar was a maidservant of Sarah. Sarah was infertile, and so she directed for her maid to have sexual relations with her husband. They call her concubine. And in that view of the Bible, Hagar was definitely not married to Abraham. And then later on, much later on, Sarah had a child, Isaac. And then through the near sacrifice of Isaac, that the people would be blessed through Isaac, not Ishmael. Ishmael was sent out to the desert with his mother for being a bad influence on Isaac, and God had decreed that they would be a nation unto their own, that Isaac would have the inheritance and that Ishmael would have a different inheritance. It seems very clear. And the idea of about Judaism and Islam, well, Judaism is the oldest of the three. Judaism, then Christianity, then Islam. Islam didn't come until the 7th century, the Common Era. So the idea of Ishmael being Muslim is impossible. It didn't come into being for many centuries afterwards. So there's no question that Ishmael was not Muslim at all. It didn't exist yet. The Quran will even tell you that it didn't exist yet. And so I question that whole thing, but there's no archaeology to back up that there was Palestinian Arabs. There's nothing. Palestinian was referred to the Balfour Declaration 1970 by the British, calling the Palestinians Jews, and that there was going to be a Jewish settlement and Jewish statehood, the modern state of Israel. There was no reference at all to Muslims in that document. And when American writers traveled to that Holy Land, as they call it, that 19th century, there were no Arabs there to speak of, maybe a couple, but the land was barren. It wasn't really occupied. There wasn't much there. And then the modern scientists came and turned the land around, fertilized the land and built. And then the Arabs came from Saudi Arabia and Yemen and Egypt and Jordan, like in the late 1920s even. That's when they were coming there, where the early scientists were already there. And then, of course, the massacre in Hebron, and there was ugly violence between the Arabs and the Jews.
You've got mail.
But the fact is that the Arabs hadn't been there. Not there. They certainly were in other lands. But there's nothing. There's no maps. There's no history. There's no geography. There's nothing to back up their claim that they were there a long time since Ishmael. There's nothing historically to back that up whatsoever. My goal, of course, is to be able to get along with the Muslims, that they're going to have a different perspective, and we're going to have a different perspective, and it's not going to be the same perspective because it's a different religion, which I'm fine with, really. People don't have to agree with me. It just needs to be peaceful and not murder and kill. And every time I see a view of radical Muslims, they're killing, they're murdering, they're celebrating their murders. And my opinion is that the Jews are the chosen people. How else could they have survived pogroms and inquisitions and holocausts and massacres and the modern state of Israel? How could they be surviving? So that's my take on it.